I hear it's not your real name.
It's not my real name.
It's not his real name.
Peter.
Peter. So where did the Bruno come from?
Bruno, I was a chubby baby, and there was a wrestler in my dad's day named Bruno Sammartino.
The incredible voice and infectious melodies that Bruno Mars, the multi-talented singer and songwriter who is responsible for hits such as Just the Way You Are and Uptown Funk, has enthralled his audience. Throughout his career, Bruno has been a mainstay in the music industry, thanks to his electrifying performances and songs that have topped the charts. But he disappeared from the public eye not too long ago, leaving his followers and admirers alike perplexed about his disappearance. His mysterious departure from the music industry was the subject of rumors for many years. Now that he is 38 years old, Bruno Mars has finally come forward to provide an explanation for the situation. Curious about the reasons for his lack of communication? Make sure you stay tuned as we delve into the shocking reality that lies behind his unexpected break. First things first, before we get into the specifics of Bruno Mars's career, let's take a more in-depth look at his childhood and the path that brought him to the forefront of the music industry. Early life and musical roots. He was born on October 8, 1985 in Honolulu, Hawaii, and is better known by his stage name, Bruno Mars. His birth name is Peter Jean Hernandez. Bruno was the son of Peter Hernandez, a Puerto Rican with Jewish roots from Brooklyn, and Bernadette San Pedro Bayo, a Filipino immigrant with Spanish heritage. Bruno spent his childhood in the lively Waikiki neighborhood. His father was a Puerto Rican and his mother was a Filipino immigrant. His mother was a hula dancer and his father was a percussionist. His parents met while they were performing, and he was born to them. The nickname Bruno was given to Bruno by his father when he was only 2 years old. The reason for this was that his father believed that Bruno resembled the professional wrestler Bruno Sammartino. Bruno was one of 6 children who were brought up in a family that placed a strong emphasis on music. Through his formative years, he was exposed to a wide variety of musical styles, including rock and roll, reggae, hip-hop, and R&B, among others. The combination of his mother's singing and dancing and his father's undying affection for Little Richard's music had a significant impact on the development of young Bruno. During his early career, he experimented with a wide range of musical styles, which ultimately led to the development of his distinctive musical style. Remarkably early on in his career, Bruno began his musical journey. Bruno, who was only 3 years old at the time, was encouraged to perform songs by Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley by his uncle, who was an Elvis Presley impersonator. By the time he was 4 years old, Bruno was already performing with his family band, the Love Notes, on 5 days out of the week. His impersonation of Elvis quickly brought him to the attention of the locals in Hawaii. During a performance of Can't Help Falling in Love, he accidentally urinated on himself, which is a moment that stands out in his mind as a memorable experience from his childhood. Bruno's enthusiasm for performing continued to be strong in spite of this unfortunate event. Even though he was only 5 years old at the time, Bruno was featured in the Hawaiian tabloid Midweek as Little Elvis in the year 1990. In addition to that, he gave a performance during the halftime show of the Aloha Bowl and appeared in a cameo capacity in the movie Honeymoon in Vegas. He was interviewed by Pauly Shore on MTV when he was only 6 years old, and he even made an appearance on the Arsenio Hall show. Over the course of his elementary school years, Bruno and his family put on nightly shows in which they covered songs by Frankie Lyman and Little Anthony. His musical versatility was further demonstrated by the fact that he played a number of instruments, including drums, guitar, piano, and percussion. Bruno's parents divorced when he was 12 years old, which resulted in the conclusion of the Love Notes. This was a significant life change for Bruno. Due to the failure of his father's businesses, the family was having a difficult time financially. Due to the fact that they were compelled to relocate to less prosperous regions of Hawaii, they frequently sought refuge in their vehicles, on rooftops, or in an abandoned bird zoo known as Paradise Park, which was the place where his father had previously worked. Even in the face of these challenges, Bruno maintained his resilience and continued to pursue his musical career. His time spent impersonating Elvis Presley had a significant and long-lasting effect on his ability to perform on stage and his musical style. As he got older, he discovered new musical heroes throughout his life, one of whom was the rock legend Jimi Hendrix, whose guitar skills inspired him to learn how to play the instrument. On numerous occasions, Bruno reflected on the ways in which his upbringing in Hawaii and his musical family had influenced his identity, thereby molding him into the performer that he would eventually become. To what extent did he make the transition from being a young boy from Hawaii to becoming the Bruno Mars that we are all familiar with today, a leap into the music industry? Bruno was a member of a group known as the Schoolboys while he was a student at President Theodore Roosevelt High School in Honolulu. Their repertoire included a variety of performances, such as opening for his father's new band and performing cover versions of classic songs by the Isley Brothers and the Temptations. During his time in high school, he was able to garner local recognition in Hawaii, which allowed him to secure gigs such as opening for a major magic show and performing as Michael Jackson in a celebrity impersonator show, earning $75 for each performance. The moment that Bruno's sister, who lived in Los Angeles, played his demo for Mike Lynn, the head of AANDR at Dr. Dre's Aftermath Entertainment, was the moment that he first gained widespread recognition. Because of Lynn's admiration, Bruno was invited to visit Los Angeles in the year 2003. After completing his high school education at the age of 17, Bruno made the decision to pursue a career in music. As soon as he arrived in Los Angeles, he made his home on Mansfield Avenue, and he was immediately struck by the destitution and filth that pervaded the neighborhood. In order to give himself a little bit more flair, Bruno decided to adopt his stage name, which was inspired by his childhood nickname Bruno. He also added Mars to his name. In part, he chose the name partly because a lot of people told him that he was out of this world, and partly because he wanted to avoid being stereotyped as a Latin artist, which was something that the industry initially attempted to do by encouraging him to sing in Spanish. Bruno was eager to avoid going down that path. Initial production work and obstacles encountered. In 2004, shortly after Bruno Mars relocated to Los Angeles, he was able to secure a record deal with Motown Records almost immediately. It turned out that the deal did not result in the big break that he had been hoping for. He also attempted to establish a connection with Will Daam's management, but he encountered additional obstacles. In spite of these early failures, Mars's time spent with Motown proved to be extremely important for the development of his career. He was introduced to Philip Lawrence, an American songwriter and producer who would go on to play a significant role in his journey while he was in this location. Sadly, Mars was released from his contract with Motown less than a year after he had signed with the label. On the other hand, Mars made the decision to remain in Los Angeles rather than going back to Hawaii. The year 2005 marked the year that he was successful in securing a music publishing deal with Westside independent producers Steve Lindsay and Cameron Strang. Mars, along with songwriters Brody Brown and Jeff Basker, whom Mars had met through Mike Lynn, learned the art of crafting hit songs under Lindsay's guidance. Mars had come to know these individuals through Mike Lynn. Lindsay emphasized that raw talent was not the only factor that determines whether or not pop music is successful. Understanding the components that contributed to the success of a song was necessary. The period of learning that Mars and his collaborators went through was extremely important, despite the fact that it meant they had to wait 5 years before they would experience significant success. During this time period, Mars was a member of a band known as Sex Panther, which also featured Basker and Eric Hernandez, Mars's brother. Later on, Eric would start playing drums for Mars's band, which was called the Hooligans then. Because of his limited financial resources, Philip Lawrence was initially hesitant about meeting Bruno Mars when he first considered the possibility. On the other hand, Keith Harris, the drummer for the Black Eyed Peas, stepped in to assist Lawrence by covering his travel expenses. He said, "I will reimburse you for whatever it costs you to get out here." To make a joke, Lawrence requested that the bus fare be reduced to just $5. It was essential that they receive this support, and in spite of the challenging beginning, Lawrence and Mars started working together, writing songs and facing numerous rejections from record labels, which were moments of breakthrough. Lawrence was the one who introduced Mars to Aaron Bass Shuck in the year 2006. Shuck would go on to become Mars's alternative music manager at Atlantic Records. The guitar playing of Mars left Bass Shuck with a strong impression, and he eagerly desired to sign him immediately. On the other hand, Atlantic Records did not officially sign Mars for almost 3 years because they believed that he required additional time to develop as an artist. Mars and Lawrence were on the verge of giving up by the year 2008, but a phone call from Brandon Creed changed everything. While Creed was searching for songs for the reformed Minuto, he found that the song Lost, which had been written for Mars in the past, was appealing to him. Even though Mars and Lawrence were hesitant to sell it, they agreed to do so when they were offered $20,000. This sale gave them the necessary boost in their financial situation, which enabled them to carry on with their professional endeavors. In addition, Creed was appointed as Mars' manager for the subsequent 9 years. Mars made a name for himself as a music producer prior to achieving fame as a solo artist. He worked with artists such as Alexandra Burke, Adam Levine, Brandy, and Sean Kingston, among others. The moment that Mars frequently cites as a defining moment in his career was when he collaborated with Flo Rida on the song Right Round, which became a hit in 2009. This was one of his early noteworthy successes. The song Get Sexy by Sugarbabes was also written by him, and he contributed backing vocals to the band's album Sweet 7, which was released in 2010. As an additional point of interest, Mars was featured as a singer on the track 3D from the album Animal by Far East Movement. Additionally, in 2009, he made contributions to the debut single Love by Jason Ma, as well as the charity track One at a Time by Travie McCoy, both of which were performed for the Staying Alive Foundation of MTV. The meteoric rise to solo stardom that Bruno Mars experienced was remarkable in every way. It didn't take long for him to establish himself as a remarkable artist after he participated in a number of noteworthy collaborations. Let's delve into the beginnings of his solo career and trace his path to fame and fortune as we progress through this discussion. Bruno Mars's breakthrough came about as a result of his participation in projects with other musicians. In addition to his exceptional vocal abilities, his work on the hit song Nothing on You by B.O.B. and Travie McCoy's Billionaire demonstrated his exceptional songwriting abilities. Each of the songs went on to become enormously successful, with Nothing on You reaching the top of both the Billboard Hot 100 and the UK Singles Chart. The success that Mars has achieved is not merely a result of a stroke of luck. Rather, it is a demonstration of his talent and his ability to create music that is memorable and catchy. Mars frequently reflects on these early successes and often reveals a particular detail that is interesting. He is of the opinion that if he had sung the entirety of the track Nothing on You, it might have sounded like classic R&B from the 1990s, which was not the intention of the song. The collaboration, on the other hand, gave him the opportunity to shine through as a featured artist, allowing him to add his own distinctive touch without overshadowing the overall sound. Mars released his first extended play, also known as an EP, on May 11, 2010, and the title of the EP was It's Better If You Don't Understand. His transition from a songwriter working behind the scenes to a solo artist was marked by the release of this extended play, EP, which was a significant milestone in his career. In spite of the fact that it only managed to reach position 99 on the Billboard 200 chart in the United States, it was a significant step in establishing its presence in the music industry. This track further solidified Mars's reputation as a versatile artist who is capable of working with big names in the industry. The EP included a music video for the song The Other Side, which featured collaborations with CeeLo Green and B.O.B. among other artists. Mars was constantly confronted with new challenges as his popularity increased. These challenges included the pressures of fame as well as the demands of the music industry. One of the most important aspects of his journey was overcoming these pressures, which put his resilience and adaptability to the test. Bruno Mars's earnings continued to increase in tandem with his rising stardom, which led to his financial ascent. Based on the information provided by Billboard in 2013, Mars was ranked as the 12th highest-paid musician of that year. His earnings were estimated to be approximately $18,839,681. This was only the beginning of things. By the year 2014, Forbes magazine had begun keeping track of his earnings, and it was reported that Mars had made an astounding $60 million between June 2013 and June 2014, which placed him 13th on the Celebrity 100 list. Mars's financial success continued to grow, and by June 2017, he ranked 6th on Forbes' list of the world's highest-paid celebrities. He earned an estimated $39 million between June 2016 and June 2017, making him the 6th highest-paid celebrity in the world. The following year, in July of 2018, Forbes listed Mars America as the highest-paid musician of 2017, with a total earnings of $100 million. This remarkable figure not only earned him the 11th spot on the Celebrity 100 list, but it also marked the highest annual earnings he has ever had from that point forward. During the period beginning June 1, 2018 and ending June 1, 2019, he earned a total of $51,500,000, which placed him at the 54th spot on the Forbes Celebrity 100 list. However, despite the fact that Bruno Mars' rise to fame was marked by a number of noteworthy achievements and financial success, he also had to contend with a number of difficulties and legal battles, just like many other celebrities. A closer look at the legal battles that he fought throughout his journey is presented here. The legal incident. Following a performance that he gave at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas on September 19, 2010, Bruno Mars found himself in a legal situation that he had not anticipated. Following the observation that Mars was spending an unusually extended period of time in a bathroom stall, the security personnel became suspicious, which ultimately led to his arrest. During the course of the arrest, Mars admitted that he had made a foolish mistake and expressed his profound regret pertaining to the circumstance. As he has reflected on the event, he has admitted that he was taken aback by the way things transpired and the lessons that he gained during this trying period. Mars was successful in negotiating a plea deal that allowed him to avoid an extended period of incarceration despite the serious nature of the charges against him. In order to fulfill the terms of the agreement, he was required to perform community service and enroll in educational classes. After Mars had satisfied all of the conditions of the plea deal by the year 2012, the charges against him were officially dropped, and he was able to put this previous chapter in the past. Since that time, Bruno Mars has not only moved on from this period in his life, but he has also succeeded in reaching even greater heights in his professional profession. This experience has served as a turning point for him, highlighting the significance of personal development and resiliency in his overall outlook. Fans are inspired to overcome obstacles and pursue their passions as a result of his unwavering success and optimistic outlook, which serve as a testament to his talent and dedication. However, Mars's legal problems did not end there. The dispute over the copyright of the billionaire went on. Bruno Mars and the rapper Travie McCoy were named as defendants in a lawsuit that was submitted by Demetrius Orlandus Proctor on January 28, 2014. Proctor's copyright was allegedly violated by Mars's hit song Billionaire, which Mars had co-written. This was the claim made in the lawsuit. In Proctor's opinion, the melody of the song was too similar to the music that he had previously composed. Proctor asserted that he had been the owner of the copyright for the song's music and lyrics since March 31, 2011, despite the fact that Billionaire had been released a year earlier, in 2010. Proctor presented a certificate issued by the United States Copyright Office for a collection that was titled Frisky Vol, in order to provide evidence in support of his claim. 1. 30 tapes are available. He demanded that all copies of the song be destroyed, accusing Mars and McCoy of committing a willful and intentional violation of copyright laws. As part of this process, any unauthorized downloads were removed from computers and servers, and any physical copies that were still in circulation were also removed. As part of his argument, Proctor asserted that the defendants had used his work without his permission and claimed that he had exclusive rights to reproduce and distribute the song. On the other hand, Proctor's legal proceedings did not proceed without any problems. A motion to dismiss that was submitted by Travie McCoy was granted by the court, which also cited several issues. Because Proctor had failed to properly serve McCoy with the lawsuit, the court determined that it did not have the authority to exercise personal jurisdiction over him. Proctor's case was further undermined by the fact that he failed to specify which aspects of his work had been copied, which was interpreted as being detrimental to the defendant. Bruno Mars' career continued to go from strength to strength in spite of this legal setback. His second studio album, titled Unorthodox Jukebox, was released on December 7, 2012, following a brief period of silence followed by its release. An innovative move on Mars's part was to provide fans with the opportunity to listen to the entire album 1 week prior to the album's official release announcement. With an impressive 192,000 copies sold in its first week, Unorthodox Jukebox made its debut on the Billboard 200 chart in the United States, where it debuted at number 2. It rose to the top of the charts in a short amount of time. reaching #1 in a number of countries, including the United Kingdom, Canada, Switzerland, and Australia. Over 6 million copies of the album were sold all over the world, solidifying Mars's position as one of the most successful pop artists of the 2010s. It was able to navigate the music industry without encountering major controversies, which resulted in it being a significant commercial success. This was despite the fact that it received some minor criticism. There is yet another lawsuit filed against Bruno Mars and Uptown Funk for infringement of copyright. At a time when everything appeared to be going swimmingly for Bruno Mars, with the release of his album 24K Magic on November 18, 2016, and a new storm brewing over his hit song, Uptown Funk, things began to go from bad to worse. After having already blazed its way to the top of the charts 2 years earlier, this song found itself in a precarious situation once more. An enormous amount of success was achieved by the song, which was produced by Mark Ronson and featured Mars. However, it also became a magnet for claims of copyright infringement. The Gap Band emerged as the source of the most significant controversy. Uptown Funk was said to have striking similarities to the band's song Oops Upside Your Head, according to the members of the band as well as their producer. Due to this, they were given credit as co-writers of the song Uptown Funk and received 17% of the royalties from the book's publication. This acknowledgement was a significant financial boon for the Gap Band, but it did not mark the end of the legal wrangling that had been going on. In addition to the allegations made by the Gap Band, a number of other musicians have also joined the fray and accused Uptown Funk of being similar to their own respective works. The Serbian musician Victoria asserted that her song had been stolen, but she chose not to pursue legal action in response to her claim. A lawsuit was also filed by the electro-funk band Collage, who claimed that Uptown Funk was too similar to their song Young Girls from the beginning. During this time, the Sequence claimed that the song violated their previous track, which was titled Funk You Up. In 2017, La Strada Entertainment weighed in on the legal chaos by pointing out similarities between Uptown Funk and Zapp's classic More Bounce to the Ounce. This was an additional incident that contributed to the chaos. In spite of the fact that some lawsuits regarding copyright and originality have been dropped over the course of time, the controversy brought to light the ongoing tensions that exist within the music industry. The discussions that surrounded these allegations touched on more profound topics, such as the question of what constitutes musical inspiration and the thin line that separates homage from outright copying. All of the critics were split. Others felt that the track was too derivative, which raised questions about who truly owns a musical style and how past influences shape current hits. While some people argued that Mars and Ronson's work was a fresh, original take on the funk genre, others felt that the track was too derivative. Additionally, this circumstance sparked conversations about the practice of cultural appropriation. At the same time that some people accused Mars of stealing from black artists without giving them the credit they deserved, others defended him by stating that his work celebrated and acknowledged the roots of the funk genre. Sensei Aisha Tu, who was in charge of a conversation on the Grapevine, was critical of Mars because, in her opinion, the band was merely recreating previously published works rather than presenting something fresh. She made the suggestion that Mars' success could be attributed, at least in part, to white audiences appreciating black culture through the creative lens of a non-black artist. Heirs of the Gap Band have accused BMG of withholding royalties from the Uptown Funk album. During the month of January 2021, the popular song Uptown Funk once again made headlines, but this time it was because of a legal dispute that involved BMG rights management. Robert and Ronnie Wilson, the heirs of the members of the Gap Band, have filed a lawsuit against BMG, accusing the company of failing to pay them royalties for their contributions to the popular track that was performed by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars. This is the history behind it. As part of the agreement that was reached in 2015, Ronnie and Robert Wilson were given ownership of 3.4% of the copyright for the song Uptown Funk. This agreement served as a form of compensation for the incorporation of elements from the song Oops Upside Your Head by the Gap Band, which was released in 1979, into the song Uptown Funk. The lawsuit claims that BMG, which had acquired Minder Music in 2015, failed to honor the contract by not paying the royalties or providing proper accounting for their share of the revenue. Minder Music was the publisher of the Gap Band. For breach of contract, The heirs were seeking damages in excess of $75,000. In addition to that, they demanded a 9% annual interest rate beginning in 2015. Given that BMG had acquired Minder Music, the lawsuit brought to light the fact that the company was legally obligated to pay the Wilsons all of the income from Uptown Funk that was due to them according to the contract. On the other hand, the Wilson heirs decided to withdraw the lawsuit without any consequences in April 2021. This indicates that they did not put an end to the legal action in a permanent manner and that they may bring it back at some point in the future. Regarding the allegations, BMG defended itself by stating that they were without foundation. It was made abundantly clear by the company that there was no settlement or financial exchange that took place in order to dismiss the lawsuit. Despite the ongoing scrutiny that has been surrounding the case, BMG has reaffirmed its dedication to treating artists in a fair manner and maintaining transparency. It was not this lawsuit that brought an end to the legal drama. As a result of this situation, the complexities and difficulties associated with managing music rights and royalties were brought to light. As a result, there was a resurgence of interest in the more general concerns regarding copyright and equitable compensation in the music industry. As the development of this case progressed, many people were left wondering about the wider implications that it could have for artists and the industry as a whole. On the other hand, as we move on from the controversy surrounding royalties, another intriguing story concerning Bruno Mars has come to light. Recent events have given rise to rumors concerning Mars's alleged gambling problems, as well as a substantial debt amounting to $50 million. What precisely is the truth behind these allegations? And what kind of response has Mars given to these allegations? In order to find out, stay tuned. Mars' gambling debt of $50 million. And what has he come to say about it? There were rumors that Bruno Mars owed MGM Resorts $50 million in gambling debt in 2021, and these rumors caused him to find himself in the middle of controversy. According to the reports, his gambling habits had become so out of control that they had spiraled out of control, putting him in a difficult financial situation. According to the rumors, Mars was financially connected to MGM due to his debts. Despite the fact that he had lucrative residencies in Las Vegas during that time, MGM swiftly refuted the allegations, praising Mars for the contributions he has made to their venues and stating that the allegations were made without any basis in reality. In spite of this, the rumors continued to circulate, which was in part fueled by Mars's previous admission in an interview in 2016 that he used to gamble in order to cover his expenses. It was speculated by some that Mars and MGM were not willing to reveal all of the information that they had acquired. Amidst the rumors, Mars made headlines in 2023 for a different reason, which was when he and Anderson .Paak made the decision to remove their critically acclaimed album An Evening with Silk Sonic from consideration for a Grammy Award. Mars stated that they had already received sufficient recognition and that they desired to allow others to shine, despite the fact that some individuals questioned whether Mars was attempting to avoid further public scrutiny. Mars surprised his fans by releasing a new song with Lady Gaga in August 2024. The song was titled Die With a Smile, and it caused a huge amount of excitement. Mars has been able to keep his cool and continue to concentrate on his music, which has kept both his fans and his critics guessing about what the next stage of his career will bring. Mars's talent and tenacity ensure that he will continue to be at the top, regardless of the rumors that circulate. What are your thoughts on the musician Bruno Mars? Give your feedback and thoughts on the matter. I appreciate you watching, family. Please make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel if you found it entertaining. It would be a shame to leave without watching the next video that appears on your screen because it might be interesting.